Hey, scientists. A lot of people have been asking how they can have a visual for their design challenge. So I have two options for you. You can always come up with another one if you like, but I've got two options that might work for most design challenges. Okay, so first let's look at the standard. As we can see, this one doesn't actually talk about modeling. Now, the reason for that is this is physics and it's a little more simple in what the visual should look like, unlike our astronomy model, our cell model, and our food web model, which all deal with systems, right? The sun, moon, earth system, the cell system, and the ecosystem. So we wouldn't want to try to model this interaction. Instead, we want to do something that's a little simpler, but still gives a nice visual for what people are going to be looking at. Okay, so the first option is a prototype. Now, this obviously is a car, and it's a good example of a prototype. Car manufacturers will make these for things like auto shows. Sometimes they demo them on commercials, right? They are things that aren't made for the general public. They don't make a lot of them. They only make a few, and they kind of test out all the different features. So this is one example of a prototype, right? It is a working thing, but it isn't necessarily something that you could replicate over and over and over again until they put it into production. Another example of a prototype would be what kind of architects do when they make building scale models, right? You want to be able to give people a visual. Obviously, you can't build an entire building to show them, so you build a small scale model. Now, this one has a lot of buildings in it, right? And you can see it's got greenery and little mini cars and all kinds of things. So it's showing how the whole thing would work, which can be really helpful, and how planned out it all is. The third option is something that is really similar to what the actual thing is, but it doesn't function. So this is a fake cell phone, and if you look at it, it looks really similar to a real cell phone. It's a little more square than most phones are today. Perhaps this is an older model, right? But it doesn't actually turn on. It has a similar weight, a similar size, a similar feel, but it isn't a fully functioning phone, meaning that if they were going to test it, they wouldn't risk breaking a real one. All right, the next option is kind of what's called a patent drawing. I've also referred to these as blueprints. So when you file a patent, you normally include some sort of thing that's been engineered to show what all the details are. So for example, this watch has some really good stuff in it. And notice it has different numbers around it. It also shows it from two views, right? There's a front view and a side view. And all those different numbers correspond to like a key that would illustrate the different features. Now this one's really complex. It is an actual patent that was filed in 1965. But you could do something easily like this that highlights a couple of the key features of your solution. Another example of patent, I mean, who doesn't want to see a drawing of a toilet paper roll, right? But again, it's highlighting the key features, the tearaway strip, the center roll. In the beginning, it has two different viewpoints. And this is an actual patent as well. Notice it says 1891. And this one is the best one of all, right? So it shows off, again, it's got a bunch of different labels. It has two views and shows different ways that you can use this. So hopefully this is helpful. Again, patents or prototypes, great ways to show off visuals for solutions if you need one. And good luck.